Okay, so I'm Sean Browning, and I've been affected for 5 years, like Maria said. Um, just try to give I'm more of a late onset. So I was about 30 years old. It was the summer of my 30th birthday when I started to have the vision loss. And I was in the middle of a career. So I'm an engineer by training, and I was maybe 7 years into a career where I was traveling to various manufacturing facilities. And the job was very visual in nature. You know, I have to look around and see things. You notice things on the wall, or you notice a hammer out of place, and it starts to give you clues about what's going on in the world. And so, you know, when the vision loss started to happen, I had to really kind of consider what my next move was going to be. So I thought, right? If I think, though, about where I ended up and like the journey that I took to get to where I am today and how I've adapted, I look at it as a positive. I think it kind of sparked some things with me where I was kind of on cruise control with my career at the time, it felt like. Now I've got a lot more interest in things that I've gone and been able to learn. So at first I thought, well, gosh, I'm never going to be able to do this again. I'm traveling around the country and renting a car and driving a couple hours out to the middle and nowhere and seeing these factories. I've got to do something else, is what I thought. I can't keep doing it. And I thought, well, gosh, am I going to, you know, there's the dark times you think, am I going to have to go on disability? And can I continue in this working world even? I considered some different careers. I got some limited support from the Department of Labor in Georgia for vocational rehabilitation. But eventually I started to learn to use a computer again. I mean, that was the first thing that was crazy. Is like, how do I do my job if I can't even see the screen on the computer? Learn Zoom text, learn JAWS, and that helped. But it's still, you know, a bit of a struggle. But thought, well, maybe I could do maths, teach math in high school or something like that. So I toyed with that idea. I met some folks. I realized that's probably not for me. I went ahead and learned a bit more about the accounting field, and I thought, well, that's something that, you know, if I can zoom in and see documents, I can read documents, at least I'm not driving out to factories and being around forklifts that might run you over or things like that. And so I went back to school. I you know, did the GMAT and got my master's in accounting. And about 2 months before I finished that degree, I got a call from an old employer. Said, we've got a really great opportunity for you. I said, well, you know, situation sort of changed, but it turned out to be the same career that I was doing before, and I am able to do it. It's maybe different, you know. I have to ask people questions like, hey, look for that hammer out of place, because I'm not going to notice it. But I'm, you know, doing the same career that I had before I started looking for all of these different things. I love the benefit of having gone back and gotten the accounting degree. So I think that taught me how to use that assistive technology to go out and do the things that I needed to do. You know, in an academic environment where it was a little less stressed than like making sure you can do your job. So I went through, I studied, I was able to read textbooks and do my homework and all of these things that, you know, I feel like I learned to live with LHON through that experience of going back to school. And then it's really, you know, helped me in my career since then. So that's, I think, professionally, my story. Personally, my story's been interesting to hear about the running. I kind of picked that up. I had a lot of spare time initially because I wasn't doing, you know, my job for a while there, and I wasn't sure what I was going to do. So I got into exercise and running and things like this, and you know, just threw myself at it, was able to, you know, start running 10Ks and things like this, and it was a great stress relief. I was kind of inactive and sedentary, and then to, you know, have this happen, I feel like, you know, there's just so many things about my life that I'm so much more positive now than I had before before the diagnosis that I'm oddly thankful for it in a way. So that's kind of my story.
Great. Thank you, Sean.